Hello everyone and welcome. Today we're working with the large die of the month and creating this beautiful card. So I've got the large die of the month. I have all of the dies here. I've got mulberry, I have got matte metallic, and I have got teal topaz. And I have die cut all of my pieces out of this, and we're just going to get to ink blending. I'm bringing in Seedless Preserves and Uncharted Mariner, and I'm just going to add some shading, some ink blending to all of these little pieces and just kind of add some dimension and just make our florals and our foliage just multi-tonal so that we have some interesting look at there. And I just zoomed in on my camera so that you could see a little bit closer up. And I have sped this up so we won't have to watch a lot of this. But I will tell you there are a lot of dies with that large die of the month and a lot of pieces and a lot of assembly. And I struggled a little bit with a couple of the flowers, the two larger ones that you have to layer up. But man, did this card come together. It just, I think, turned out really, really pretty with the matte metallic treasured cardstock from Spellbinders. And then these other colors, it just really pulled together nicely. So I'm just blending everything. I've just got my old waffle flower mat, and it's pretty messy. I brought in some Oceanside as well. And to add some blending to that, I'm using the soot, just really dark, just to darken it up. Okay, I got all my mess cleaned up. I turned on the light and I assembled most of my florals so that I could have them ready because it was just going to take a long time to get all these assembled. There's two different types of these little ones I'm just showing you. This one looks like a Y. The other one looks more like an X. And you just line them up. I've got the gold matte metallic underneath there, and then I'm adding the little centers to them, and I kept track of the centers with some Best Ever Craft tape. Now I've got all my florals assembled and I'm just showing you those. These are multi-layer and you got to figure out which piece goes with which, and then I'm just going to get these stems added to these, and I think we'll have all of our pieces ready to go so that we can begin building this card. And it really comes together. I kind of play with it a little bit. I'll get these stems laid down on there, and these flowers came together. Now, I didn't bring the stems in for the other ones yet, but I will do that. I have taken the Aloha, and I have die cut it out 3 times. I've got one in the gold matte metallic, and then I've got 2. I've been using some poster board that was left over from a project I'm working on for VBS for this summer. I had a bunch of scraps, and it's thicker and heavier, so I took 2 layers of that and layered them together, and I'm putting them on the back of this Aloha. I'm actually going to use some more of that poster board for my embossed panel as well. It has a really nice sheen to it, and I noticed it 3D embossed really nicely. So, and I've got just tons of that because basically was die cutting out with my Cricut these big sheep for VBS, and so I had a lot of scrap pieces. I did several sheep, and I had a lot of scrap pieces that I used. So I've got all my bits and pieces here, and here I have got the panel, and I'm going to try and show you because it really has a nice sheen to it, that poster board does. I think you can see it a little bit on the camera, but I really liked how that pressed. Anyway, we'll get it laid down on there. I also used that poster board for the white layering panel that I'm going to use as well. You won't see it because we're going to cover it mostly up with the floral elements, but it really made a nice sheen. So anytime I use poster board for the VBS projects, I'm going to keep the scrap and use it for my cards because I love the way it looked, and it's thick. So I'm just going to keep that in mind. So I'm just going to layer this up. This is that scalloped frame and landscape die set, and I love it. I'll link everything in the description box below. I know I use this a lot, but it is gorgeous. So I'm going to put some foam tape on the back of this, and we're going to get this layered on our Pineapple Pop 3D embossed panel. That's not 3D, it's just a regular embossing. That's the embossing folder of the month, that Pineapple Pop that I used for the base layer. And we're going to get all these little pieces of backer removed and get this laid down on there. And it really makes a nice landing zone for our Aloha and our tropical blooms. So I'm going to start laying these down on here, thinking that I'm going to position them and get an idea of what I want to do. And then I'll actually pull them off on my glass mat. And I'm going to use the press and seal method to pick them up once I get it how I want it. So I'm just right now just kind of playing with it. And I'll do this for quite a little bit. And then I'll realize that I need to put the other little blooms on their stems, and I'll start gluing those down as well. But I'm just kind of fussing with it and arranging it, and I was pressing some of the petals down on one of them, and I'm just going to move them around. And this is just part of the creative process, just trying to figure out exactly what you're going to do with it. And so I'm just tucking and looking at it. And I've got these stems here, and then I realize that I need to lay the little bitty florals down on the other stems. And I'll just get busy doing that. Now, the other day I was watching one of my videos as I was editing it, and I probably said 1,000 times in that video. So I am trying not to use that as a filler when I have nothing to say. I didn't realize how hard it is to really keep yourself from doing that. So I'm just trying to be more conversational and not say that. So I'm getting all of these pieces laid down on here. I'm sure that I will continue to say it and not catch myself, but I'm going to try to eliminate that as much as I can. I was actually thinking that I should put at the start of the video, count how many times I say it, and put it in the comments below, just because I say it so much. I never realized that I did that. I don't know that I do it conversationally, but when I am talking on here and I'm like drawing a blank of what to say or whatever, I stop and then just kind of fill in with it. But I need to try not to do that. So I have got another stem, and I'm going to glue some more of these down. I don't think I have exactly enough for the stem, but I know that I'm going to be tucking it so you won't notice on the bottom that I don't have the flowers on there. In fact, I think what I do is I twist and I kind of cover up two of the areas with one of the florals, and then I'll just have some remnants there at the bottom, I think, and then I can tuck it in and you won't notice that I don't have any florals on those little circle things. So now I'm going to start positioning it, and I'm like, I'm just going to do this on the glass mat. I'm going to grab the press and foil, and we'll just make our arrangement here, and then I can just pick it up all together and lay it down on my card. I've got the die set also has some half leaves, and so I've got those, and I'm going to add those. That's just so you can add some dimension on your other leaves, and so I'm going to get those added on there and just give kind of dimension. It's also, if you want to do the two tones, you can do one side of the leaf in one color cardstock and then the other side in another, and then layer them up, and then you'd have like a light and a dark or whatever that would add some dimension to it. I'm just, since I die cut them out and I ink blended them, I'm just going to glue them together and use them. And I noticed I had the Aloha laying there incorrectly. I think I still have the O upside down, but I'm just rearranged it. And now we're just going to start placing all of these in order, and then I'll bring in the press and foil and we'll pick it up and we'll have a really pretty design. Now, I was really pleased how this turned out. I was on the struggle bus because I've been doing so much creating and videoing and creating content, and I was just kind of at a burnout. I was kind of feeling burnout, and I was almost like, I'm just going to walk away from this. But I didn't. I pressed through it, and then once I got it done, I was really excited with the card, and it gave me the energy to just keep going. And when I went to load the video into my software, I saw that I had another video sitting there that was ready to go, and I was like, oh, I forgot I had that. So I had two wins right there together. when I had extra content that I forgot I had, and then this came out so beautifully, so I was really happy. Now I've got two foam squares on the back of those big florals because I was holding the center piece into that, didn't want to lose it, and I'm bringing in some larger foam squares, and I'm just going to lay it all over where it will be covered, just to kind of help hold these things together and attach them when I lay them down on my card base. So we'll just put several of these around where I can, and then we'll flip this over. It'll pick up everything all together, and I've got some of them connected with these foam squares, and then I will just add some more foam or glue as I need to attach it to the card base. So now we're going to pull the backer sheets off these, and then we'll get it flipped over, and then you'll get to see how pretty this looks on the card base. I think the gold that I used the gold for the floral elements, the stamens and the back of the little pieces. So there is quite a bit of gold on this. And then with the frame and the Aloha, it just really comes together nicely. Now look at that. That is a big cluster, and it is gorgeous. Now up at the top, it was the stamens were really thin and they're not glued down, so I'm having to be really careful, and I decide to just start from the bottom and pull up, and then we'll pull away from that at the top, and that way we don't tear it. And I'm just pushing down on anything that's wanting to lift because I don't have glue or foam on everything, but I've got enough on there to hold it down. And I pulled it off, and I was like, ooh, I love the way this looks. So anything that is not attached, I'm just going to lift up and then lay back down where it goes. And I've got my design all together on there. I'm just bringing in some more little foam pieces and just tucking it on anything that needs to be adhered. And so we'll just keep adding these foam pieces, and I think it looks really pretty. And then when I add the Aloha to the top of it, it just really pops. Now here I am taking some foam squares and cutting them down real small so that I can tuck them where I need to tuck them and get everything attached. I will do that as well with the Aloha because my foam squares, I want to use my thin ones, and they're a little bit wide for the letters, so I'll just bring some foam in and cut it down. I'm just going to kind of get a dry fit here and figure out how I want it. And I can see that my O is going to lay a little bit lower than the rest of it, and so I'll have to double up on the foam on the back of the O so that it will lay even with the rest of the Aloha. And I'm just looking at my placement, trying to figure out what I'm going to do. So I bring in these larger ones and I cut them down. And I'll actually have to cut them down again because I'll realize this is too wide. So I'm going to use what's left on the sheet there and cut them down even more narrow. And then we'll just lay those on there. And we're going to get this foam on here and get this popped up. So I was really excited after I got this put together because I was just kind of in a rut and I didn't really want to craft. And I've got a lot of product to work with. There is a lot of fun stuff coming up on my channel for Spellbinders. I've got a lot of it already loaded because I was working ahead because of the weekender, and I'd worked through, I think this is going to run the 4th, and I'd worked through June 3rd, and I think this will run the 4th. And then I've got Hero Arts, and Spellbinders has changed their release date on some of their core products, so I'll have some of those at different dates than I normally do. So I've doubled up the O, and now it's going to lay more flat with the rest of it. And then we're going to bring in the Ha and pop it up as well. So we'll just get these strips laid down on there, and then we will be good to go. But really, really super happy with this. So if you wouldn't mind hitting that like, I would love to have you do that. So I'll finish getting this on there and laid down. I think maybe yesterday why I was kind of blah was it was just kind of gray and cloudy. And we'd been having some nice weather, and I really am affected by the weather. I love the sunshine and want to be out in it. And it was just kind of, it did clear off. It was just most of the day was just gray. And then later in the afternoon, it did clear off and got nice. And I think we're going to have a nice day today as well. So we get this laid down on there, and I just love it. So I'll get all my mess pushed aside and give you a quick look at it. And I did take a couple of pictures so that you can see it close up with a couple of different views. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, I would love to have you subscribe. Don't forget to hit that like. Thanks for watching. Here's a couple more videos.